Right guys, this is going to be a solo flawless prophecy dungeon without the use of any taken mods, Pinnacle weapons, or the exotic grain launcher Anarchy. For those that just want to see this, then skip the time on the screen. Firstly, I can quickly give you a tick list of what you need to bring to get your solo flawless for this dungeon, like in terms of weapons and what armor build you should be using, as we're not going to be utilizing any raid mods. The reason for this video mainly is because Bungie announced last week that they would be removing these raid mods. Apart from the taker mods, but they're going to work in Last Wish only. They're not going to work anywhere else. Fallen mods and Hive mods will disappear. They'll no longer be a thing. So I had to look back at what dungeons and missions that I've done without the use of raid mods, which I've done them all just about. This was before Bungie announced it, as I believed at the time it was just an extra layer of challenge, so I just wanted to do it. But now that they've announced this, I look back to see what we've done. So we've done the Whisper mission without raid mods. We've done Shattered Throne without raid mods. We've done 0 Hour without the use of those. We've done the Pit of Heresy. We've done that with white gear, so that counts because you can't put mods in white gear. So we've done them all apart from Prophecy. So this is why I'm doing the final one to tick it off the list, basically. Not only that, if anyone copies this run that I've done, literally anybody can get this done, even without the raid mods. The builds that I'm using make it pretty comfortable. You can get it done in 1 or 2 or 3 times. Tries. I mean, I done this in my first go after work today. I literally come home from work, got it done, one go. Not because of me, because of what I'm using. Right, is effective. That's flat out. That's all it is. So the easiest way to do this without raid mods, without any Pinnacle weapons, whatnot, is on a Warlock using these subclasses. So I'll just give you a tick list of what we're using. Like I said, I'm going to talk more about this and give more information while we're doing it. We use Top Tree Dawnblade for the first encounter. We used Well Radiance for the first boss fight. We then swapped to Devour for the cube room and for the final boss fight. Those are what we're using. In terms of weapons that you want to bring, the exotic grenade launcher Witherhoard. You want to bring a bow. You want to bring a void primary that you like using. So there's a couple of void auto rifles that are really good in the game. There's Recluse if you want to bring that. There is any void weapon that you're comfortable with. There's a void sidearm. Anything void. Okay. If you're not going to use a void primary and you're going to use maybe Trinity Girl or something like that, you'll have to switch up your build and use Verity's Bow. Basically, Verity's Bow is similar to what Nezric's Sin is. It works a little different, but it's similar. And you're gonna get that grenade. You're gonna get that increased ability regen for grenades, I believe. So you can use Verity's Bow instead. But I still recommend this over that. So we're using between Reckless Oracle and Gnawing Hunger as our void primary choice. And I get it's a raid weapon. I'll just state this. I get that it's a raid weapon, but the thing is, it doesn't give me any advantage at all. The only reason why I used it is just to test it out. It's a 720. I never used it, as you can see from the kills. I've never used this weapon, so I wanted just to see what it's like in this auto rifle mare. It's okay, but it's not better than Gnawing Hunger. So just put on a Gnawing Hunger that you like. If you like Subsistence Rampage, put it on. If you like the curated role, Overflow Rampage, put it on. Put it on. Whatever you want to use, there's no limits with this. The only thing I would say is Demolitionist is very useful for the final boss fight. So I just use it for the full thing. Well, when I got to the final boss, I put that on. But otherwise, if I wasn't testing this weapon, I would have just used this for the whole thing. So, like I said, that's the recommendations for that. I'm using the Fallen Guillotine Sword, Relentless Strikes, Whirlwind Blade. There are other roles that are useful as well, like a counter-attack one. But this role is more versatile and usable for everything in the game, whereas counter-attack's only usable at certain times and is better than Whirlwind Blade, but at certain times. We want something that's good. We want something that's really good all the time, rather than something being exceptional and then subpar for the rest of it. Get it? It needs to be more consistent, and this role's more consistent for what we're doing. So like I said, in terms of the rest of the build, we're using a Protective Light build. So basically that revolves around Charge of Light. So we're using Take and Charge. So every time we pick up an orb, we get Charge of Light. Protective Light offers damage resistance when we basically get in the red when we get one shot. So we want to spec into that because we're going to use this for most of the run until the final boss at least. So we want a defensive playstyle because we are not allowed to use taken barriers. So we need something. There are other resist mods that can do things, but this isn't a video to debate about that. This is just a real good thing to use. We're using Supercharged, so we get a ×4 charge of light. We have stacks and stacks, so every time we pick up an orb, we get 2 for 1. So we can get ×4 charge of light with 2 orbs. It's not essential, it's just the icing on top. Okay? That's our build that we're using. Our ammo, like things on our boots and our helmet and our gauntlets, these will change depending on what weapons we're using. You'll see in the run. I won't talk too much about that as of right now. When we get to the final boss, we're going to use the exact same build. We're just going to switch off from a protective light to an offensive playstyle. So we're going to use Lucent Blade instead because we're going to have a sword on. We're going to use it for boss damage. That's literally it. Like I said, I'll give more information in the run itself about what we're using and why we're using it. But set up your armor first. Bring all the weapons I've mentioned, and we can go from there. Right, so on with the run. So, like I stated earlier, we're going to be on top tree Dawnblade. For the first encounter, okay, you just want to get your soul flawless. You don't want to be doing this part. So, easy way to skip it is to jump up to the fall. You can do double dodge up there. So that's why we're on top tree with our class ability. And we can just sort our way up. And then you want to get as high as you can. And as soon as you see you've hit the height, do the double dodge, and then you can jump across. You don't have to do a nade like I did. You can have the double dodge and sword and stuff to get across, but it's not that hard of a jump. So now on with the first boss itself, we're going to switch to Well of Radiance, middle tree. With this commentary we're going to try and provide exact information at each point. If you're struggling with this fight, you won't be skipping any parts so that you're getting as much information as you need from it. Obviously, if you know this fight inside out, then don't watch this part. Skip to the final boss if you need that, or if you need the cube room. Whatever part you need, skip to, yes, but make sure you watch all of it. So right now, our priority is the ads. Now you only get 2 ad spawns per phase, which are sirens of course. So you want to clear those out as quickly as you can. Also, generally we're never using our nade ever. That's where the demolitionist weapon comes out handy. I know the curated role's really good and whatnot, but having our nade up a lot means we can survive, especially on this tree. So it's invaluable, and we have no mods, so we need that extra survivability. Now, when you've got no raid mods, the most dangerous times are when a knight enrages, like so. Now, to explain this mechanic, it's an audio cue. Okay, when you hear the knight making a certain noise running after you, you know the knight's enraged. You need to keep running until the knight stops and then does his solo move. That's how that works. Don't just expect the knight to stop following you at some point. Like, if you think the knight stopped, the knight probably hasn't. And if a knight's enraged on you and you're out of position, that's going to cause a wipe. So, like I said, we're using the exotic grenade launcher Witherhoard. If you get one shot to the body, you see, you stand in the right spot and you wait. Witherhoard can do what Anarchy does, where you can kill that knight and then just stand where you need for the mods. This video is not going to be talking about mechanics so much. This video is designed for people who already have a basic understanding of how this dungeon works, but they need tips on positioning, what weapons to use, how to go about doing the soul flaws on it, because there's still a lot of people still haven't done it. It's around 6%, I believe, that people have actually done these solar flowers. So it's not high. It's not a high percentage. Granted, there's not a lot of people that are actually going to even try going for it because they're not bothered about it. But some people truly are bothered about it and want it. So that's what this video is going to do, help people like that. You can use you know, your aerial movement and the blocks at the top. But don't stand up there too long, as you can, you know, start to get a lot of fire. So the idea of this fight is you're doing a lot of rotation. You're managing your health, you're managing your timer on the left hand side, which is favourable. You don't need to be rushing this. Like, I've got 20 seconds here to kill one knight. I should not be putting myself at, you know, much risk. The boss itself, as you see, I can outmaneuver that boss easily because he's not that threatening. You know, once you get used to his AI and stuff. Every now and then he can boop you. If he does, you can sword back on the map. That's the beauty of it. Now we're not doing the mechanic where you can get 2 dunks at once because that's unintended. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to play it out how it's intended. So just get 1 dunk at a time. We're 1 phase in the fight anyways. And trying to get a double dunk, if you get it wrong and there's 2 knights hitting you mid-air, that's going to cause a wipe. So we're not going to go for it at all. Also, there's 4 dunks, of course. We're going to save the last dunk to be at the top. That's very important. Do not save the last dunk to be in the middle. Try not to. It's all these extra little bits of information makes the full run easy. It's almost scripted. Okay? The reason why we save a top dunk is to bait the boss into position. So when we do a well, the boss will react the same every time. Whereas if you do it the well nowhere near the boss, like maybe 2 foot in front of the boss is going to run away from you. Okay? That's your well gone, and you're not going to get the 1 phase, and you're going to have to waste your time. So if you follow the steps exactly, then you won't. I will wait for the boss, like say, to come close, then we can jump down, do a well, and then just do your heavy attack as much as possible. My 1 phase on this is kind of really bad. You can also do a Witherhoard shot, but the boss was starting to want to push out the well, so we looped round to ensure that he didn't. Like I said, this 1 phase, we do end up getting the 1 phase, which just shows that even if you mess up, you can still get the 1 phase. My well actually ran out there. The reason for this is because I didn't use enough heavy attacks. Like I said, this was my first run of the day. So that was scrappy, but as you see, if you're doing your heavy attacks, watching your gauge, your heavy attack gauge, and doing it every time you can, then you're going to kill him before your well runs out. So now we're switching off to our next loadout, because we're going to the cube room, not the cube room, sorry, the Wasteland area. Now, even though this area is easy on most runs, it can be quite threatening depending on how you deal with it. I.e., if you're trying to rush it because it's that easy, like, oh, I'll just clear all these blights. Not so simple. Without raid mods, without the taken barrier, no. You can't rush it too much. You can rush it to a certain extent, but you don't want to be. If you're losing your solo flaws because of this part, then you're doing something wrong. Okay? So, obviously there's going to be 3 blights to take out, but 3 snipers. The first port of call is taking out all 3 snipers. That's the first thing you do. As if you're trying to take out the blights and travel in between the blights, there is a risk that you could get sniped. I'm not saying it will happen or won't, but there's a risk of it. And this run's designed that it eliminates any risk. You can also stand on top of the blights like so. We're doing a healing just in case, because sometimes you can take a little bit of damage. You're not completely immune there. I've had damage taken. It depends on the enemies. Like if it's the captains, I've seen the captains take me from there on top of the blight and stuff. Also, we're always having a nade available. Watching my health regen, like always. That's why the higher your health, the higher your recovery stat, the better it is for something like this. When you're running around trying to get that health regen, you know. But I have to sacrifice some recovery to get the concussive dampeners and all that stuff, and the actual build going. Now we've took down the 2 blights, the 3 blights, sorry. We wanted to stun that captain there to get the orb. That was important that I done that, as shield breaking an enemy like that. I know I haven't got shield disorient on this weapon, like Xenophage doesn't possess that, but shield breaking any weapon, any enemy, stops them from shooting you for that brief time for me to get that orb. So I can safely get it and not know that I would, know that I wouldn't wipe. Same again, we'll take out all 3 snipers. We also switched our class piece. I can't remember if I did or not, but this is something I haven't talked about. Obviously I'm running that stacks on stacks build, but we swap to a different an arc piece with storm lead on it, which basically gives us increased super energy on machine gun kills, but it also has heavy finisher on it. Obviously our other bond was oppressive darkness, which wasn't in use because we were on weather range and whatnot. But I end up using that piece anyways when we're on devour. But the heavy finisher is a seasonal mod and basically requires half of your super to get heavy ammo. So I've got that on now, but I don't really utilize it until the cube room. I just had it pre-set up, I believe. Now we're on the last set of blights. Watch the invisible minotaurs as well, especially if you're standing next to your Sparrow. They can blow that up and that would just kill you as well, meaning you wouldn't get your soul flawless. So when you're stepping off your Sparrow, get away from your Sparrow. That's the big thing. The blights, you can take them down with 3 shots with Xenophage. If you have your melee up, you can also get the empower buff on the blight and take the blight down quicker with your shotgun or Xenophage. This is why it's handy having a shotgun on as well, just to complement Xenophage with these blights. Like I said, we're not clearing the ads. The only ads that we're clearing are the snipers. You don't need to clear everything. We've always got a healing aid or a well like so. I was planning to do a well there anyways because we don't need it. Resting, I just wanted to get the orb safely and then get to the cube room. Now we're just looking for the exit, as I did not see where the orb went. The orb will show you the way, but generally there'll be a pink aura from where you need to go as well eventually. Now we're on to the cube room. Then we're going to switch off to Devour Warlock. We're going to keep the shotgun on. The shotgun comes handy for this. We'll keep Xenophage on as well, but we're going to switch off to avoid primary because of course we're using Devour and we're using Ezra, so we need to utilise avoid weapon. Avoid bow would be too slow in my eyes. I just think it would be, it would probably be alright. I just think it would be maybe a little too slow for this. I would recommend using, Recluse. Anything really good for ag clear that you like using, use it. Now we're changing our weapon perks up, so we're putting large arms stuff on, okay? And changing our scavenger perks because we're not using a sword. We can take that off, but what we do need a lot of ammo is Xenophage, so we're going to put heavy ammo scav on. As you saw there, the heavy finisher setup, which is available from the artifact. It won't be after November. I mean, I don't know what they're doing with it, so I'm just going to assume it's not going to be. So just bear that in mind. This video is more for people to get it done last minute. They've got 4 weeks or so. They haven't got much time. So we're going to look up to see what we've got first. We have Dark on the right side. We always proc our Devour first via our nade rather than the melee. Reason for that is the ad will take 2 melees to take down. That's plenty enough time for you to get wrecked by the 2 snipers and all the ads. So I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend just proccing your Devour via your nade. It's safer that way. Also, if you have an overbomb, you can use it, but try not to too much, as it all depends on what ammo bricks you're getting and stuff. But you want to try not using your super, but that is your super there to use. But our build revolves around consuming our super to get ammo back. Also, I'll have to talk about this a couple of times because there's a lot going on all at once and what I'm doing. But you need to make sure that you have a Devour Nade up when you're getting the dunk. So when you're getting the dunk, I usually kill one of the snipers as well. So obviously the mechanic is when you clear a knight, you get a sniper. When you clear a sniper, you get a knight. The thing is, what I've figured, especially with this setup, because we haven't got, you know, taken barrier, it's better to have one sniper and one knight alive than it is two snipers, because the two snipers are more likely to snipe you while you're getting your dunk. Whereas you can control having one sniper, one knight, because the knight is just going to run after you, do solar flames, and you're running away, so he's not going to hit you. That's fine. The one sniper might, but we can tank that one sniper. Two snipers is risky. So before you pick up that fifth moat, this is so important. You know, if you're on 4 moats, just take the moment just to take out one of the snipers. They're one shot with Xenophage. So this is the beauty of Xenophage. You can just look up and boom. This is why it's better than a sniper. If you start putting a sniper on and you miss a shot because you get flinch, PvE flinch for snipers really bad. That's where you're going to be at danger. Whereas Xenophage, just a hip fire shot, you're done. So that's why Xenophage is so crucial for this, and using the heavy finisher, which we end up doing. Also, there's times when you can. I mean, I left 2 snipers up there. The reason being is because I've done this that many times over the last 3 months, is where I kind of know where the snipers are spawning, and I get a feel for where they are and my cover and what I can do and what I can't. And I knew where the dunk was, sort of thing. And I knew it would be safe enough to get that dunk without taking them. Also with this trick here, I'm activating the teleporter and then running away, which you can do that. My ammo's full. You can do it for solo, but you can't do it for fire team. For fire team, all members need to stand there. But now we look for our orb first. This is where the shotgun's going to come in a lot. Since the orb rifle's good and all, it is. But see what it is. We want to kill these adds as quickly as can. We can use Xenophage as well, but it's actually really good on Adclave because of its explosive perk. So you can get like 3 acolytes in one shot sometimes. And with the acolytes being on a timer, you taking down the 6 acolytes and all the eyes quick to then get onto the next part is invaluable. Whereas if you're taking time with the acolytes, you're taking time with the knights, what might happen to you is that you might get an additional spawn of acolytes. Because they're infinite, right? They're infinite on each plate. Which is good and bad at the same time. It's good for when you're done a room and you need to farm up ammo. But it's also bad. Like right now, for example, there's extra adds spawned up. And now I'm playing this area to a good point. I'm looking at my health. This was a real dangerous point for me. I didn't have Devour there as well, but only one of the snipers could see me. I had a healing rift though. So if, you know, if that would have been a bit hairy, I would have popped that. If I'd never had a healing rift, grenade, nothing, then I would have took the loss on the moat and just started the room again fresh. You never want to get a dunk, and like if you're thinking in your mind, if I dunk this I may die, don't dunk it. Whereas if you're thinking confident, you're thinking, well, if I dunk this, chances of me dying is like 10%, then dunk it, you'll be good. You should be good as long as your movement's good and whatnot, and you have a Devour there. Or a healing, then you're good usually. Now we're farming up ammo, like you see, the heavy ammo finishes playing good. Just as, it's kind of like what taking armaments would be, of course, but we're losing super energy at the expense of it. Which is fine, Nova Bomb's not essential, like, but what we're on this subclass for is for the health regen. As you saw there, I was a little hasty and went up the elevator. We had a couple of adds alive, but Protective Light saved us. That's a point where even if I play sloppy, this build is going to still save us at times. Now we're going to try and get this ad cleared as quickly as we can. And we're looking for the second sniper, which I could not see at this point. Kept our Devour just the very last second. Now we can get our 2 Knights. We have a Healing Rift if we want it, which we do use. Just looking for the last Knight. I'm cautious though. Devour's still going, so this is a good thing. My chain's still going. But we are cautious of where the snipers are. Just reminding myself where the dunk is. If you ever need to do that, go behind cover, look up, and look up where you need to dunk, because all the rooms are very similar. Like the, you know, the 4 walls are similar, so you easy to forget while you're clearing all the ads, you're clearing all the snipers. You know, it's easy to forget where you need to dunk at times. It is, to be honest with you. Okay, so because the ads are just here and we've got Nesrix on and whatnot, we're just gonna get a bit of super energy back. Pretty much there. Not only that, we're building our charge of light up as well. I mean, we've got 3 chances to get 1 shot and get out of a situation. That's 3 chances there, basically. Okay, so on this room there was no orb, so we're going to go for one we choose. Don't be frightened to use your nade as well. Obviously you're going to get it back, as you can see, because of Devour and whatnot. As you saw there, the 2 snipers got us 1 shot, shelter with light procced, so it is working as intended when we need. This will be one of the last rooms we do. I think after this is the last room. Using our covered our advantage. Fine. It's important as well on your final room you make a decision between having either full Xenophage or saving a super and supering one of the final bosses and then Xenophage the other. Whatever you prefer at the time. It all depends, because you might need to do a Panic Nova. I mean, this cube room is less scripted than the rest of the run, because the dunks are random. The way you fight the ads could be different to the way I fought them. Something could happen. A knight could rush you. 2 snipers could catch you off guard, whatnot. A lot of different things can happen. So it all depends. Yes, now we'll get a reload. It's very important as well. This is why we've got large weapon reloader on, that you get a reload after every room that is completed. You start a room and you're starting to clear knights, but you have to get a reload. That's like 4 or 5 seconds of you getting hit by ads. That can lead to wipes, especially if you try and attempt to go to cover and then a sniper gets you and then you're dead. And then you've just wiped a run because you didn't reload a weapon. It's something as simple as that. That's why it's important. So I believe this was actually our final room. Obviously there's a lot more speedrun strats for this dungeon, which I've seen here and there, but this video is not dedicated to that, since I haven't done much prophecies over the last month or so, 6 weeks. But this video is not dedicated for like a speedrun or something like that. It's dedicated for the players who just want to get the emblem. They don't have all the stuff that I've mentioned, but you know, they still have options out there. Okay, so we're going to do a devour here, as you've seen. Just keeping an eye on my health, just to make sure. Sheltered by Void saved us again there. We had a healing as well, so utilise that. We are lowish on ammo, so we're going to use this room to farm up ammo, and then we'll have the final bosses at the end, the 2 Centurions. Now we're full on ammo, so that's good. Take these acolytes out. Didn't need to, but we get our charge of light, so. You'll know when you're at the farm room when he appears like this. The farm room's the same every time, of course. We can do a healing, stand in that, and then it usually takes a full mag, a full clip of Xeno to take one of those out. Then we get a quick reload. You can save up your devour if you want, if you get into a tricky situation, but generally it's not needed. You're alright. And that's the cube room dealt with. Now on to the jumping puzzle then. So we're going to swap our build up, just for ease of use. You literally don't need to swap anything for this, because we're not really fighting adds. It's just literally a jumping puzzle. So you can put what you want on really. A bow is handy if you want to take out the snipers like I did. I took a couple of them. We're also going to put a sword on, and we're going to go back to Top Tree Dawnblade because if you were to miss time a jump, you could save yourself by sword and back onto the platform, or using the dodge ability. That's the only reason why we're on this class. Not that it's needed, it's just you may as well. Like I said, we're not needing Devour, we don't need anything for this. Obviously you'll go back to the Wasteland area, but you just follow the boss. There will be a couple of adds that spawn to your left, which aren't, you don't need to kill them. Be careful as well, if you're quicker than me to get to the boss can stomp you there and kill you off your Sparrow, so try not to go anywhere near the boss, you can help it. So I'm aware, you know, the speedrun strats, you can Sparrow fly over to the other edge in no time at all. I'm not teaching that, since I don't really do things like that myself, so I'm not going to bother to learn it to show someone else to do that. Not only that, I wouldn't recommend doing it in solo flawless, because you could have done all the hard work, got to this point, tried off a cool new trick, and then wipe. And then you have to start the whole thing over, and you're probably going to be salty about that, and you're not going to do as well on your next run, because you're going to be mad about your first death. So I advise don't do it. Just literally, you can Sparrow there, take the route to my left, or you can do the walking route, which I'm taking. Which isn't as fast, it isn't as fast, definitely not. But this is just a route, like an alternative route showing you. Like so, if you miss time and jump, you can always saw back, like so. Also, you can utilise Heat Rising, so you have that unlimited jump ability for that 10-second phase. The snipers to your left generally won't get you. It's only this part where I believe if you Sparrow past him, it can be dangerous if they hit your sniper and blow your Sparrow up. So we're just going to take them out, just showing the safe way of doing it. As if you're wiping it, it's like with the Wasteland, if you're wiping at this part, you're doing something wrong. Because this is the least difficult part in terms of, you know, in terms of the full thing. Take them out with a bow. As you see, they do a lot of damage without, you know, without having the taken barrier on and whatnot. You know, 2 shots, you know, 2 snipers can get you, you know, literally in danger. Then, when you come to the cube, or the pyramid room that has a knight, that's where you can, in my eyes, take the best route. Just follow the stairs round, and then it's the opposite side, and then it's literally the same thing. You just jumping down all the obstacles. If you don't like this way, just do the Sparrow way, alternatively. Whichever's favourable. There will be some Phalanxes spawn, but just run past those. If you're taking your time though, they can smack you off, so bear that in mind. Also, if you do get a super, you can utilise that to get to the other end faster. What we're going to do in a sec. This is the last part of it. There is a secret chest up ahead, which we can get to from here as well if we wanted. I didn't end up doing so, but if you wanted to go and get your chest while we're doing this, then you could. It would just require like a dodge, sword, dodge, sword to get over the other side, or even using the super like I'm doing, but I think we're just going to skip that and get to the final boss. If the elevator does not activate, eventually it will just keep moving around on the elevator and it'll take you up. Sometimes it won't. Then when we get around this corner, just be careful of these thralls, just jump over them. You don't need to kill them. But if they all bunch up and hit you at once, they can get you, so just be careful of them. And then when we get to the boss, try not to start it up before changing your gear. Obviously you want to put a flag in, get full ammo and stuff, because we have no way of getting ammo. Well, we do have every finisher, but we're not utilising that build. We'll be taking that off. We're going to swap back to double grain launcher ammo finder, because we want that ammo, we want that special ammo for Witherhoard. It's very important for this. It's also important that you put on enhanced grain launcher loader, even though I know it's got the catalyst and all that. You want to be spamming it though, so you want max reload for it. It's reload slow as it is, so you want to maximise that as much as possible. Now we're going to go to our offensive charge of light build with Lucent blade. Still keeping supercharged. We're still going to keep stacks with stacks. Also we're going to change up our ammo scavs to match what we're using now. And then we're going to take off this bow. We're not using that. I wouldn't recommend using a bow. They're really good. They're the best primary in the game in my eyes. But for this right now, I wouldn't recommend a bow. Trinity Girl, yeah, but then you can't put Witherhoard on. So I would highly recommend high rate of fire weapon. So we're going to try to spawn kill as many scions as we can. We've proc to devour first. This is the most dangerous part of the boss fight, is when you have to face where there's 3 bosses in all corners of the room, there's 2 knights that are hitting you, and there's a bunch of scions. We had a quick look as well. We did lose our devour there, but we were avoiding the fire. The highish recovery stat helps, concussive dampener helps, all that stuff. Then we get our first dunk, and then we have a healing rift. Try to save a healing rift for each ogre. We have no way of getting it back instantly with the invigoration, but obviously with a highish recovery stat, you're going to get that back quicker. We have 3 dark. I ended up getting 3 dark. This room's pretty balanced. Yeah, there's 4 different rooms and they're uneven, some of them, but this one's balanced for light and dark. It's not a problem. Whether you get 3 light or 3 dark, none are easier than the other in my eyes. Now we can get our second dunk. Make sure that you're getting a dunk with as max health as possible. Now we dunked too soon. We should have waited a little bit. As you saw, I didn't have a healing rift, but that's fine. We can rotate around the room. Since we got our first dunk, that is our safe zone right here. Always remember that. If you make a mistake or something, go back to your safe zone. Obviously if you're making a mistake on the first phase, then you're in trouble. But if you already have a safe zone, then there's always that point of retreat. All I done wrong is I should have waited. I shouldn't have cleared the knights so fast. I should have waited a little bit longer. Then I could use a healing and then do that, because I was taking too much damage from the knights. I may well have been able to kill the ogre, but the knights might have killed me in the process, and that's a risk. So we took that into account while doing it and retreated, rather than trying to rush it. It's not about trying to rush it. Also, the Scions are on a infinite spawn. Okay. Generally, if you're doing it at a steady pace, you'll get 2 spawns. While you get the 3 dunks. If you're doing it a little bit slow, you might get the 3rd phase, but that's fine if you do manage with that at that point. Always make sure you devour up for a Scion wave. That's the most important thing. If you have to use your melee on a Scion to get your devour, that's fine, you can do that. You're safe to do that. Also, with each ogre, try not to use too much sword ammo. It's overkill using your heavy attack. You could do 3 or 4 light swings, obviously getting ammo back from the relentless strikes, you know, and the ogre's dead. Do it with a hard shot, and you're good to go. So we are ×3 charge of light, which is high enough. We end up getting an extra orb in the thing itself anyways. But for DPS, I'll end up explaining it twice because there's a lot going on at once. But you need to replicate what I'm doing to make sure you get the solo 2 phase every time, and it's consistent. And it's consistent with how the boss reacts as well, every time. There's no randomness to this really. So we're going to start with a Oppressive Darkness Nade. We end up doing 3 in total. Your first one should be the first platform. Then you spam Witherhoard. When he does his second teleport wave, that spawns in the first wave of snipers. Then you push up to the middle platform. You avoid his teleport, which you can do back here. Do a couple more Witherhoard shots. Then get your sniper weak to then do a devour melee. Then you've got devour going, meaning you're getting grenade energy back. Right? And then you can do a couple of Witherhoard shots. If you manage to hit, that's good. I missed, but that's fine. Then we can spawn kill our next snipers. Then we do a Witherhoard shot, an Oppressive Darkness Nade, and a Nova, and then we run. Don't spend any more time there, because it is vital that you spawn kill these 2 snipers up close. If you try and get them from a distance, right, and they're staggering you and they're making you flinch and whatnot, they can wipe you. Okay? That can happen. So spawn killing them like that makes it easier. Now we're going to get in position for our big damage phase, which is the last one. We've got a Healing Rift, which we've saved. We've also saved a Oppressive Darkness Nade. So you want to do a healing just as he's teleporting and then go in with the sword. Build up a couple of stacks, then we can start using our heavy attack. This is where the Lucent blade will come in. We'll get that increased damage when you can see Keened coming up, so we're getting that increased damage and increased recharge rate. Then when our healing rift's gone, you need to get out of there. If you can stick him before he leaves, then that gives you increased damage to the boss even more. As you can see, his health bar will tick down. It's like that with Anarchy. Anarchy and Witherhoard do this. Damage over time weapons, continually damage him after the phase is done. So I know it's a lot going on, but like I said, I'll explain that again on the second phase. But as you can see, we've done 60% of his health, no problem with mistakes. I missed 2 Witherhoard shots on that second phase of damage. So even still, with a little mistake here and there, and I didn't optimize my sword damage perfect. Yeah. Also, Witherhoard double ticks, so you can tick to the body and on the floor. If you get both of them ticking at the same time, that's more damage. Try and do that if you can. If you don't, and you're always ticking to the body, you're still gonna do fine. When you drop into a new room, check what you've got, which mine's mainly light. And then once we have had that quick look, if you don't have time to look, don't focus the sounds. If you have plenty of sword ammo as well, you can utilize using sword on sounds, which if you're in a rough spot, I advise doing it, because you can always farm up ammo after this is all done. There's an opportunity to do that. But not only that, enhanced sword scavenger helps out so much. You know, 1 brick's going to give us a lot of ammo. We're pretty weak there. That's why we moved sort of out the way. But we have a healing rift. As you saw, a couple of sword. We didn't need to do a heavy attack there. It took out the ogre. If you're close to wiping and you know you're going to wipe due to the ogre, then yeah, use your heavy. But you should be comfortable enough in a healing rift. Now we've got our motive light. We're going to get to a good position. Make sure our health is high enough. If it's low, we burn the moat. If it's low, we burn the moats. And we start again. We were in again. I made the same mistake. I done it too fast and didn't wait for a healing. But that's so we ended up using a Nova Bomb. So you are free to do that as well, as you can farm up Super again. And even at a normal pace, I'll get my Nova Bomb back just as I finish this room anyways, so it makes no odds. So if you want to Nova Bomb an ogre that's out of hand, do it. As like I said, the Scion waves on an infinite spawn. Even when the bosses leave, they keep spawning up and up and up. I could literally have spammed sword ammo forever, or, you know, until I run out, and then still get sword ammo back for the boss fight, just to farm up off the ads. Okay, so now we had 2 light, 1 dark, I believe. So dark in this room can be kind of difficult. An idea is to get your knight weak, then go in the corner somewhere, and then take your knight. That's a good way of doing it. Witherhoard will one-shot a knight. Also, you can do healing, like it's on the final ogre, so I'm free to do that. This is our final dunk now, so we'll go for that. We're waiting for our health regen. This is a good place to do that. We get our dunk. We have max charge with light. We're 4 times 4, which is good. Always make sure you build that up before you start damage. If you start damage with no charge with light, you're not benefiting with the Lucent blade. I'm not saying that you can't 2-phase without it. Probably could. But you want to be getting that at times 4. Also be sure that you have plenty of sword ammo for your second phase. If you don't, if you have say 20 or 30, wait for some ads to spawn up, then do it. Also, so we need, you know, a grenade starting, super almost at least more than 80 to 90%. There's a Nova Bomb is part of our damage, and plenty of Witherhoard ammo. At least 10, 12, 13 minimum. So same again, we'll start off with a Witherhoard shot to the ground, then a nade, then a body shot one. That's ideal if you can do it like that. You get the most damage out of it that way. Like I said, every time he does his second teleport wave, that is the trigger for the snipers. So then we can kill them with Witherhoard and then push up. You can kill them with Gnawing Hunger, but that's slower. Witherhoard you can shoot and move. That's the beauty of it. Shoot and move out the way. The higher you are up as well, the better the fight. Doing it like this is easier than sitting back, because it avoids the mechanic of the dark entropy. Then again we'll do a passive nade and a Nova, and then a Witherhoard, and then run. Spawn, kill the snipers at the back. We need this area free always for the sword, of course. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is try not to sword the boss on any other plates, as he's more likely to teleport you. Every time I've done this, he's never teleported me on the last phase. Probably because it's linked to how much damage you've done from when he started. It's a damage gate thing. I don't know the exact science, like specifics around it. But I know for certain that if you do like not much damage and then you do a lot on the final plate, he very rarely teleports. Also, you need to be close as well. If I was standing 2 or 3 feet away, he may teleport, he may. Standing right at his feet like that, in a healing, ensures that he doesn't. But that was the solo 2 phase, the full solo flawless Prophecy without any raid mods, Pinnacles, or Anarchy. Hope you enjoyed, thank you.
That's some bloodlust, hero. It hit me when you were tearing that last pack of Taken apart.